What time is it? Barbecue time. What's up, Barbecue Nation? Big Six Barbecue here. Today we're going to talk about brisket, and I'm going to show you how to season it with my barbecue rub, Tacuache Rub. So today we got this 15-pound packer brisket that I picked up at the market. We wet aged it for 2 weeks, and we rinsed it. We patted dry. So on one side we got the point, the other side we got the flat. I try to get the flat with the fattest flat I can, so the whole brisket could cook evenly. And so we're gonna start trimming it. So I'm gonna trim the point, and I want to give thanks to my friend for letting me borrow his Japanese knife. Thank you, my friend. So with one swoop of the knife, I want to slice the fat, just in one swoop at a time, without hacking at it. So if you hack at it, it's just gonna make a mess. So with just one whole slice of the knife, just keep slicing until you get that piece of fat off. And you want to do that to the whole brisket. Don't take off too much, because if you take off too much, and then you just lose up most of the meat. You paid all that money for nothing. So just try to square up the brisket as best as you can. This is just a backyard cook, so it ain't gonna be a competition cook. So I'm not gonna do a whole lot of trimming. So this part right here is just gonna burn, and so what I'm gonna do is just take it off. Today I got this packer choice, so I decided, well, let's wet age it for 2 weeks and to see what happens. That part's done. So we save that for stocks. So I'm feeling the meat. It feels pretty good. I'm gonna take most of that off. Not too much. Just want to leave some on. I don't mind it too fatty, because if you take most of it off, it's just gonna dry out on you. It's a tough cut of meat, the flat. So the point is, it has a nice marbleization, so it's gonna get tender on you. And I don't need all that fat on the point, because I like to do burnt ends too. So I'm from everywhere. I was born in Texas, but I still love burnt ends. So here we go. We're gonna continue slicing most of that fat off, squaring up the brisket. Like I said, I'm not gonna do that much slicing, because it's just a backyard cook. I'm just showing you how to apply my rub. We're not doing no competition brisket here. We're just cooking to show people how to, smoke a brisket from start to finish, Big Six style. I know there's a bunch of people that smoke a lot of brisket out there, which is cool. They have their own way about it. So I'm just going to show you my way, how we do it here at Big Six Barbecue. So I'm showing you the point right here, and I still need a little bit more. You just got to keep going at it. It's you want to make sure the brisket's cold, so the fat could cut easier. So if you leave the brisket out too long, it's just going to be harder to slice, because the fat's going to get too soft. I'm probably going to smoke it for 7 hours until the internal temperature hits like 170, and then we're going to wrap it in butcher paper, and then cook it until the internal temperature hits 200. So it's going to take a little time. So here we go. I'm going to start removing most of the fat here. On one side of the brisket, there's a hard fat. They call it the deco. That's not going to do nothing but make your brisket hard. So anything hard on the brisket, it's going to make your brisket not too good. So you want to take most of it off. It's just a hard fat that has no flavor in it, really. It's not good for sausage or nothing. Or you could use it for making stock, which I do. When I make my brisket stock, my brisket au jus barbecue sauce, so I put in all that in there, and I make my sauce with it. So I'm going to try to square up the brisket as much as I can, so the smoke could, flow through it aerodynamically. So I'm, slicing off that fat right there, cleaning, This is just a backyard cook, so it's not going to be nothing fancy. But you want it to look nice anyway. So when you apply the the seasonings on there, you're gonna cover up most of that anyway. I want to remove some of the fat, but not all of it. Most of it, it's flavor, because fat is good. And on the other side of the brisket, that had like that's the hard fat right there. It's gonna come off. We're gonna take most of that off. It's not gonna do nothing but burn and stay hard. So we're gonna get most of that silver skin off, not all of it, but it's gonna burn off anyway in the cook. You're not even gonna see it at the finish. So we're squaring it up, taking that off. Okay, folks, what we're gonna do here is add a binder. So what I got here is Dijon oil mixture. So we're gonna rub that all over the meat lightly. So I'm gonna apply this mixture all over the meat, and then what's gonna do is gonna help me. It's gonna act as a binder, so I can apply my rub to it. But before I do that, I'm gonna add salt and pepper. So I got 2 tablespoons of salt, pepper, kosher salt, black pepper, and I'm gonna liberally sprinkle it all over the meat. So I'm gonna shake it up high, so it could get a nice even coat. And you want to make sure you get the edges too, and you don't want to get too close so it won't clunk on you. You want to shake it, not cake it, So you want to just continue to sprinkle it very liberally all over the meat. And you want to use up all the salt, 2 tablespoons, and the 2 tablespoons of black pepper. So now what I'm going to do is add my Tacuache Rub. So I'm going to pour it in that container. So it'll help me sprinkle it all over the brisket. And once you're done there, either you let it tack up, let it sweat, and then add it into the smoker. You want to wait for an hour before you put it in the smoker. You want that brisket to come up to room temperature, so it'll be easier for the stall. That's sick right there. I still love that part. So we're gonna just keep, sprinkling the brisket all on the sides, all on the other side. This brisket is so, it's a 15-pound brisket, so it's gonna take a lot of seasoning. So you could add a lot of seasoning to it, and and when you cook it, you want it. It's gonna produce a nice bark, let's say. So you want to keep rubbing it all over the board, trying to get most of the seasoning. And there you go, Big 6. So it's 6 o'clock the next day, and I'm filling up my chamber with charcoal and lump coal. So I'm using 2 different types. I'm using the lump coal on top and the briquettes on the bottom, so I get a nice long cook. So what I'm gonna do is foil on my drip pan, assemble my 22-inch Smoky Mountain Weber, put my grill on. You see how it's nice and clean. I like to keep that thing blinging. So I'm gonna put my lid on. So I'm gonna try to keep a consistent temperature at 275 for about an hour. Right now I'm gonna add some wood to the fire, get that going. So I got some apple wood in my hand, which I'm gonna slip in. That's some city wood that we found, and I got some white oak, red oak, and cherry, which I'm gonna put. I like to put the wood on the side so it could simmer a little bit, like smudge a little bit. And I'm gonna let that stay for about an hour at 275. And then once it's been an hour, I'm gonna put the brisket in. So I got the brisket. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cook it fat side down for 2 hours. And after 2 hours, I'm gonna flip it and cook it again for another 2 hours. And after 4 hours, what I'm gonna do is start spritzing it. So if there's a puddle of liquid, I'm gonna dry it up so I could get a nice bark. If not, it's just gonna be a puddle, and you might achieve a nice bark from that. And you want to spritz it, not too much. What I got there is a mixture of hard cider that my friend made homemade and apple cider vinegar to help break down the protein. Once the temperature hits 170, I'm gonna pull it off and I'm gonna wrap it. So what I'm gonna do is spray the pink butcher paper so the bark won't stick. And then I'm gonna wrap it, evenly with, airtight. So at the end, I'm gonna just fold it And then what I'm going to do is that's going to help grab the brisket easier. And another thing is you want to spritz your pink butcher paper before you wrap your brisket so it won't stick to the bark. Believe me, I had briskets where it had nice barks and I pulled the paper off and it pulled that nice bark off. So, if you're in a competition, just keep that in mind. So after your internal temperature hit 200, I pulled that probe off and I'm going to pull it to the side, wrap it with foil paper. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it rest in the cooler for 2 to 3 hours until I'm ready to carve it. It's been a long cook. If you want any more of the Big Six barbecue, make sure you hit like and subscribe. And right now I'm going to give you the money shot. So what I'm going to do is unveil my brisket. So after 11 hours of cooking and 2 hours and waiting, here we go. So don't she look beautiful? I just want to eat it right there if it wasn't so hot. I kind of burned my fingers a little bit trying to pull it out of there. But she is jiggling. Boy, I love how she jiggles. And I'm going to give you a cross cut right here with my friend's nice, super cool knife. Japanese style sword. I don't know what it is, but here's this cross section. Wow, look how pink and juicy and jiggly she looks. She's gonna be delicious. There you go, folks. Thank you for watching. For more Big Six barbecue videos, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button.